Hi, it's me again with CorelDraw Tips and Tricks. Kind of like a twisted looking ribbon. I'm not exactly pleased with this part, but it looks pretty cool on the black background. So I'm going to attempt to show you how to draw this. It's really pretty easy. Let's take a rectangle or a square holding down the control button. Let's Control D and make a duplicate and bring that in, and then let's put P and put them in the center of the page, and then let's rotate them 90 degrees. Well, 45 degrees. 90 degrees, we just put them back. Now what we're going to do, we're going to take a six-sided polygon and kind of stretch it out. But I want the corners kind of turned. So what we're going to do, we're going to take the shape tool, we'll take the pick tool, and go up to object and convert it to a curve. Take the shape tool. I'm going to get rid of these nodes in the center we do not need. I just want the outer one. I'm going to select them all now, and I'm going to go to Windows, Dockers, Corners. That's way too much, so I'm going to do like 0.25. Yep, that's pretty good right there. And now I'm going to hit P on it. Let's zoom in here. And let's hold down the control button and put it somewhere up in there. Let's bring in indexing lines. So we want the center. Now we're going to take this one and Control D and make a duplicate. Click on the rotation and move it to the center. And I'm going to rotate it 45 degrees. Now what I want to do is to get rid of these lines between the squares. And actually, what we can do is take the, you know what, that might, yeah, I want it a little bit bigger. So I'm going to take the original one, I'm going to hold down the shift key, and I'm going to bring it in. I'm going to bring it in to like right there. That might work. Now what I want to do is, I could rotate this thing all the way around. Matter of fact, I need to bring this inner box up, holding down the shift key. I want it to intersect that cross right there. I'm running out of room. I want it just like right there. Now what we can do is take the virtual segment delete key and delete this line. And we are going to take, I'm going to actually put in a line, a 2-point line, holding down the control button, make it pretty big. Whoop. I had the 3-point curve line on. Just back up, get the 2-point line, and make sure your line is going to reach the whole thing, and hit P. See, it's not quite there. So you can always take the pick tool and just expand it up. Now we're going to take this shape. I'm going to use that same green, and I'm going to fill that in right there. I'm thinking, and now I need to take and fill this in. That's actually a little bit too big, but it's going to work. Now, I'm going to nudge these out of the way. My nudge factor is 20 inches. That doesn't need to be 20 inches. It only needs to be about 10. And I'm going to nudge these colors out of the way. Now, I'm not going to delete this in case I mess up. I'm just going to nudge it up. I'm going to nudge this back. This one might look pretty cool. Now what we want to do is take this one right here. Let's zoom in here. And you won't really know if it's on top or bottom until you use the interactive fill tool. And see, it's actually on top. So we want some black down here. So we're going to leave that like that and make this black. That way it looks like it's kind of, you know, it's really on top too. Never mind. Let's back up here. Let's back completely up. Take away that. Let's do this one. Whoop. I saw it jiggle, so I'm going to put it back. I'm going to get the interactive fill tool now and go this way. I want the black to go underneath there. There we go. Just a little bit. Now we can click off it, click this, and this is actually the same thing. So we get the interactive fill tool, put a little black right there, and see how it's I should have made that a little bit bigger, but it'll work. Now we're going to get the interactive fill tool back, and I just want a little bit of darkness on that edge. Now, instead of rotating the whole thing around, one, I can get rid of my line. I need my indexing lines for just a second, but I'm going to Control G to group that. I'm going to Control D to duplicate it, holding down the Control button and mirror that over. Now I'm going to group this together, Control G. I'm going to Control D to duplicate it. I'm going to double click on the X to get the rotation, and it's there. I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees, Control D, Control D. I'm going to get rid of my indexing lines. Now see, we have that kind of like that stripe between it. So what we can do now, we can take the whole thing and we can right click and put a line there, and it, didn't really change it. Let's change it to black and you'll see what I'm talking about. You know, that doesn't look half bad. I kind of like it down in there. So what we can do, let's do this. Let's make a duplicate of that and nudge it over. And let's left click, right click. Let's get that out of the way. And let's take the, you know, I do not like it on the seam of the page. Let's go up. Well, then it's up there. So let's take away those intersecting lines right here with the virtual segment delete key. Now on this one, we can take away the line. And I'm going to right click, no outline. And then when we bring this back, then you don't have that center line, but we still have a little white line, but that's really pretty good. I made this part too big, but it really might look pretty good. And there's a lot you could do with it. I do not like this part. You know, it looks too blue. So let's back up here quite a bit. Well, let's see if these are separated. And they are. I can just delete them. Bring on our indexing lines back. Let's change that. Let's ungroup this because we want them both in the same. So we'll just delete that. I'm going to work on this a little bit, see if I can't. It just doesn't look right. So I'm going to select it. It's part of the other, so I'm going to ungroup it and then select that. I'm going to take the interactive fill tool and, you know what? Let's put a little turquoise on both ends. I missed it. And this is something you can play with. And let's put that in the middle. Let's put just a little bit of light gray in the center. It kind of makes it look like it's kind of folded. And you could play around with that and make it look better. So now select it, Control G, Control D, get the two-sided arrow, flip it over. We got that line again. You know what? Let's do this. Let's back it up. Well, we can get rid of that. Let's Control G to make it duplicate, or Control G to group it, Control D to duplicate it. Let's move that to the center, and let's rotate it 90 degrees. We can do the same thing we did a while ago on the lines. Let's, I still don't like that one. This is a little bit too little, but and you know what? That actually does go behind there. So I could have used dark on that. You know what? We're going to do that. I apologize. Get where you only have one. And then always make sure you just have one. Pull it off. I actually had two. So now ungroup it again. And let's zoom in here. And let's get the interactive fill tool. First of all, pick your item. It still must be grouped. Ungroup. Okay, there it is. Get the interactive fill tool. And let's put a little black or a little bit of gray down in there. And let's, you know what, let's put a little black there and get rid of that. We can double click on it. That looks pretty good. That looks better anyway. At least it looks like it's kind of twisted over. Anyway, I'm going to go with that. Control G to group it. Control D to duplicate it. Get this two-sided arrow while holding down the control button and do that right there. We can get rid of that bar here in just a second. Control G to group it. Control D to duplicate it. Hit that X. Get the rotation circle. Click off of it. Click back on. Make sure you're there. Rotate it 90 degrees. Control D, Control D. Now to get rid of that line, I'm going to hit the plus key on the keyboard. I'm going to actually go up. I don't know why that does that sometimes. I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to take this one and put no line. See? Now this one, I'm going to put no fill. And then I'll get rid of my lines. The virtual segment delete key will cut them out. Whoop. Cut the wrong one. And now we have the line. We can actually make these lines a little thicker if we wanted. It's just a hairline. If you want them a little bit thicker, that might look pretty good. And then bring this back. Whoop. And there you have it. Now take away the indexing lines. That looks a lot better. I always like bringing in a black box. Go up to Object, Order, back a page. And it really makes it stand out. Now you can definitely see those lines in between. I can't really figure out how to do that perfectly yet. Maybe I could have combined them, break them apart. But I think we're going to lose. Let's go up to Object, Group, and ungroup them. Object, Group, and ungroup again. I just want that piece. And then that piece I'll ungroup. Ungroup again. Whoop. Maybe I had it. I just want those two pieces. Hold down the Shift key and let's combine them and see what happens. It might take the color away. No, it didn't. But it did change my interactive fill tool a little bit. But not much. That looks pretty good. Anyway, I hope that helped a little bit. Thank you for watching.